do is they start understanding that abolitionism is an ideology and it's a movement. It's people becoming abolitionists and having to deal with the question of whether we're going to be abolitionists. So my recommendation is that all Christians would stop competing, would stop thinking about themselves and their organizations and this and that sort of, like J.D. Hall. J.D. Hall has brought up J.D. Hall's arguments against AHA that he's building to end abortion now, as Kate says. Again, for those who have joined and they're just watching this and they're going, what the heck, this is a train wreck. This is a train wreck. I wish whatever I could do, right or wrong, good or bad, I wish that I could have zero interaction or zero history with this guy, because this is so damaging. And I love justice. I love mercy. I love my neighbors. I love my state. I love the people that I'm around. And I love the fact that God is moving to abolish abortion and using his people. And I really wish that this wouldn't be going on. And I know a lot of people really, really respect Jeff. They don't really like me that are watching this. I'm just appealing to you. I don't want to even win the debate. I don't want to win any past debates. I don't want any, honestly, so I've been involved in various abolitionist things, whether you're talking about Bad Self-Eater Project, where we busted the conspiracy theorist with the Bad Self-Eater bill. Bad Self-Eater bill. Shameless plug, flooded the culture with these. Like, I've been involved in that sort of thing. I've been involved. Durbin show is devoted to having experts who are trying to end abortion in America onto his show. Yes, it makes very good sense on a national scene by spreading abolitionism. And if anyone wanted to interview me or talk to me about what I do and why and what I think, I would be totally down. I would like mid-February, early March, something like that. But I've not been hesitant whatsoever. You can read the material. And I'm not trying to slam him, but I like to work in secret and I like to work behind the scenes. And now I've been outed. And that is going to be very detrimental to the campaign. And it's going to be very detrimental to Dan Fisher. What he's doing is going to be difficult. It's going to be personally difficult. I'm going to have to get off the live video here so I can get to work on some stuff that has to be done before tomorrow, because we got printing deadlines and stuff. But it's just bad. Anyone who knows about these things that is involved in these kind of campaigns knows it's bad and understands why it's bad. I don't want to go into the details. I just hope it all goes away. So, as a brother in Christ, I would request that Jeff Durbin take those screenshots down before the enemy can really seize them and use them against Dan. I can't go into the arguments of why that and how that could happen, but that's a request as one brother to another brother, just a request that he would take those down. That all of us who have been involved in this conversation and so forth would know and understand that as someone who works on social media for Dan and helps and volunteers for the campaign, I don't want to be out there. The reason is because men like John Speed and Tony Miano and Marcus Pittman have created a litany of posts and blogs and so on and so forth out there, slandering my character and saying that I'm all sorts of evil bad when I'm not. And they've said basically that I'm a cult. And for people who don't know anything about this, they get on the internet and they search T. Russell Hunter and they find out that I'm a cult leader or whatever. And then it hurts Dan. For the sake of children, for the sake of God, for the sake of the glory of God, for the sake of what's going on to establish justice and mercy in Oklahoma, take those down. That's my request. And yes, please support Dan Fisher. Like and share his videos. Share his website. Donate to his money bombs. Come to the conference in March or whatever it is, the 2-day rally or whatever it is. The rally in March. Come to it. March in the streets. Stand up for justice and mercy with Dan Fisher, the guy who's put his neck out there to run on abolition in a culture that's been diluted by pro-life and pro-choice indoctrination for 44 to 45 years. Come on the cause and establish justice in the name of Jesus Christ. So I'm just going to sign off. Does anyone else have any other? Oh man, there's so many questions here. that this is not used against us, and that Dan is not distracted, that the campaign is not derailed or distracted in any way. Maybe it shouldn't. We're going to just basically brush it off. I can already tell you that strategically. We're going to be like, yep, that's just some guy running a show in Arizona posting something. Doesn't really matter to us. We're in Oklahoma. We're running against Todd Lamb and Mick Cornett and Gary Richardson. Kevin's dead. That's what we're doing. So pray, though, that the enemy doesn't use this mightily against Dan. And yes, Justin, sorry, brother, we don't know each other well, but I've enjoyed your comments. We do need Christ and the Lord to help us. And really, Christ's prayer that we be unified is a big one. It doesn't mean we can't debate and discuss things and even sharpen each other. You know, iron sharpening iron. We can't even sword play. That's good. And maybe I've done that to him and I've hurt his feelings or something like that. But you know, I just apologize for anything along those lines and just say, regardless of all of it, for the sake of the cause of Christ, the establishment of his kingdom on earth as it is in heaven, let's just pray that his will would be done and that this would not bring great destruction on a very, very good thing that we should all be working on together. Anyway, love you all. Thanks for watching a rambly video. I'm leaving it up for an hour.
This podcast, 5 of the 6 Republicans on it. Today we are joined by former state representative Dan Fisher. And with that said, Dan, welcome back to the Pat Campbell Show.
Good morning, Pat. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's. I've got a lot of ground I want to cover here in a half hour, so let's get to it. Let's start with state question 780.
Very supportive of the use of medical possession. Need to get those concerns and if this were to fail, if I'm elected governor, I will move and help lead the legislature to come up with a way desperate to get medical care.
Though here, I need some clarification. How are you going to vote on this as it's currently written? Okay. All right, let's go on to the other issue. There's a House bill being proposed that, again, we're talking with Dan Fisher, to be passed, that would change the vote threshold for tax, which was hard for the legislators to do their jobs. Who's the treasurer of your campaign, and why did you choose that person? Taxes.
No.
All right, let's move along then. Who's the treasurer of your campaign, and why did you choose that person?
Well, technically, I am the treasurer, but we have a couple who are bookkeepers and accountants who are helping me with that process. But I just, when we filed, I made myself the treasurer, so that's why I'm the treasurer. I can keep up with me better than anybody else.
How much money have you raised so far?
We have raised about $150,000 so far.
Okay. And how much do you think that you need to run and win not only the primary, perhaps a runoff?
I would think another $500,000 to $750,000 if we make it that far. Yes, sir.
And how would you get that? Telling people who you are and what your campaign's all about.
Well, Pat, our social media is blowing up.
Okay.
One of my videos, Not a Politician, that you've talked about on your program now has had over 500,000 views. I'm traveling all over the state, meeting with different groups. So through social media, all of the appearances that I make, appeals to people that have already donated. We've already topped our 700th donor. So between working our social media and traveling around the state, I believe it's very possible that we could raise the money that we need.
So does your plan include TV and radio?
It would, Pat, if we can raise enough money to do that. But quite frankly, how much better could a commercial do than 500,000 views already?
Well, you know, the views, that's nice. In fact, G.T. Bynum's got 250 on social media. And my question would be, name a person that's run for governor and won on social media.
For a rally that we're holding this Saturday.
Gotcha.
So we're already buying radio time, but I can tell you that in the social media, Obama the same way. Now, we're not going to just completely mining.
Yeah, Obama didn't work media. Somebody asked me the other day, and correct me if I'm wrong here, You are running as an abolitionist, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Explain what that is. In fact, my youngest son had a friend over, and he goes, "There's no slavery." And I said, "I'll ask the guy on air." So,
one believes at the very basic premise that abortion is murder. Abolitionist, I am running to end abortion in Oklahoma.
how are you going to do that?
Well, primarily, it would have to come from the people, Pat. A leader can make legislature to help me do a law that
is or was. We've actually had abortion clinics, abortuaries here in Oklahoma. Had 2 when she started.
absolutely nothing. So you get a law that declares abortion as murder, and you shut down the killing centers. It's as simple as that.
So what are you going to do? Have the just legally shut them down? Are you going to use law enforcement? How's that going to work? And how will that survive a court challenge?
And maybe push the legislature.
About you, there's somebody associated with your campaign. Last name's Hunter. Who is this guy?
Russell is a volunteer
Okay.
who is an abolitionist, has become a friend over a long period of time.
All right, okay, that's enough of that.
Okay.
So anyways, I saw he put a post on Facebook, and I thought it was a joke at first, okay?
Yeah.
That anybody who lives in Oklahoma, if you don't vote for Dan Fisher, it's a sin. And of course, I'm Catholic, so this creates all sorts of problems for me. Is that going to be mortal or venial? Do I need to call a priest? Maybe this is one of those tricky ones. It's a sin of omission. I thought he was joking, but then I saw his reply on Soonerpolitics.org. He's serious, isn't he?
He is personally, but he posted that on his own personal Facebook, and he wasn't speaking for the campaign. I will tell you what he said he meant by that.
Okay.
What he meant is any Christian in Oklahoma who believes that abortion is murder to not vote for an abolitionist would be a sin in their lives. I mean, that would be hypocrisy. To say on the one hand you believe it's murder, but then you won't support someone who's running as an abolitionist, committing to ending abortion if at all possible. And that's the point that he was making. It's really not about me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you were the abolitionist running, he'd say the same thing about you.
All right, again, we're talking with Dan Fisher. I want to get on to teacher pay. We've had all sorts of promises here. There's that